This is the Major Figures Podcast, recorded at GOT Sound Studio, with your hosts Goody and Chris Darnell. We're a community for people who inspire to be major figures and want major figures. Let's figure it out together.
What's going on? What's going on?
What's
Another
up?
Episode, another week of Major Figures Podcast with your hosts Chris Darnell and Goody. Today we got a special guest, man. We got a good one in here today. We got Miss KiKi from KiKi's Chicken and Waffles. World renowned. Yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thank y'all so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. So, tell the people who are you? Who is KiKi?
I guess I always get that question. I guess I'm considered the KiKi. I guess I'm the only KiKi in Columbia. That's what they say. I'm owner of KiKi's Chicken and Waffles, a real estate investor. Used to be a liquor store owner. I just recently sold it. What else do I do? Got an event space.
Wow.
Entrepreneur.
A mother, a wife.
Serial entrepreneur.
Right. So how did the restaurant come about?
So the restaurant came about, me and my husband, we both worked in the restaurant business for so long. We wanted to open up something, that was going to be great for Columbia. And so we decided to go with the chicken and waffles. Went down to Atlanta for a weekend, tried Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles. Have y'all tried that?
Oh, yeah.
And we waited in line for like 2 hours to get in Gladys Knight Chicken and Waffles. And we started thinking, it was like, we need to bring a chicken and waffle spot to Columbia. Wow. And so that's pretty much how we came up with the idea of bringing chicken and waffles to Columbia.
Well, so how long has the business been open now?
This year, 11 years.
Oh, wow.
11 years.
So I know you have 2 locations.
Yes.
So at what point did you know, like, it's time for us to expand?
So we started out in a small location off of Two Notch in Spring Valley area. It was so small. It was like maybe 2,500 square feet.
Oh, wow.
I mean, we only had probably about 10, 12 tables. And, when the wait started to get out of hand, people were complaining about that. We knew it was time to, expand to a bigger location.
That's good problem.
And then when people started asking, they were traveling from Newberry, Spartanburg, and, Spartanburg area to Two Notch is kind of far. So we was like, you know what, let's open up a location on the other side of town. And so that's basically what we did.
Now, let me ask you a question. Was that your passion or your husband's passion for like cooking or just like having a restaurant operation, period?
So it was both of our passion. I've always wanted to open up my own restaurant. I love cooking. Just love, serving people. And that's basically what we did. We said, okay, let's open up this restaurant. We knew the business so well. Mm-hmm. A lot of people want to open businesses, but they want to follow other people because they see them doing it so well. Right. But we actually had the experience in it. We actually love cooking and love being in the restaurant.
Okay. So before, like you guys opened up the restaurant, y'all had you said y'all had the experience. So y'all had a history in the restaurant business, history in cooking, or like what is the backstory?
So the backstory for me, my mom, my grandmother always had me in the kitchen. I was helping cooking, doing anything that she needed me to do. I was doing it. And I loved experimenting in the kitchen. And while I was at USC, I worked at a local restaurant. Freshman year to my senior year in college. So, learning that restaurant so well, learning the high volume. And the restaurant's California Dreaming. So, it was right there.
Busy.
I was my second job. And so I always just wanted to be in that restaurant. Then I did an internship in Chicago and I was working at a restaurant there. So it was always in me. Same with my husband. He, was working in the back of the house and he understood the cooking side. And so it just basically just put it together. And we actually met at California Dreaming.
Oh, wow,
so
that's
so
cool.
We, started there and we started dating and actually opened a restaurant before we was married. So and I told my husband, I was like, at the time I was like, don't name it KiKi's. We're not married, I don't know where this is gonna go. And he was like, well, Ty's Chicken and Waffles is not gonna sound right. That's his nickname. And so I was like, well, I guess if you want to name it. So basically that's pretty much how we came up with KiKi's. That's my nickname.
So at any point, do you consider was it hard to open a restaurant, or was it a point where you like, man, did y'all want to quit?
Oh, all the time we wanted to quit. I think that's any business, but the restaurant business is very hard. I always tell people because there's so many areas that you have to worry about. Worrying about DHEC, worrying the servers, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. Make sure the cooks are preparing the food the correct way and it's consistent. It's just so much. And so plenty of days I always wanted to throw in the towel, but just meeting the people and seeing how people enjoy your food and you having that name that everyone knows in Columbia area, it's like when people come to Columbia, it's like, okay, where do I go for a good soul food? And they always say KiKi's, and it's like we've built that from the bottom and brought it to be some, a very popular restaurant. Wow. And some days I'm just like, wow, because I don't feel like I'm a celebrity or people call me a local celebrity, but it's not that. It's just that we open up a restaurant that's very popular and just people know who I am. So
that's pretty cool. So the food is amazing. I'm going to go ahead and throw that out there. My sons, they love it. So like the recipes or whatever, is that you or that's something y'all created for the spot or something you've been doing already or?
So the recipes, all of what we developed as we kind of came open the restaurant, like the Red Velvet Waffle. It was just something that we kind of came up and developed on our own. Other recipes are something. Other recipes are from what my grandmother taught me when I was younger. I'm from Charleston, so about turkey grits and the fried fish. So when we developed the menu, it was like, okay, chicken and waffles, we got that. Now we need to have other things on the menu so that people, if they don't like waffles, they don't like fried chicken, we need to, have a variety. And so that's basically what we did. We got baked salmon. We got baked chicken. And we didn't always have that very extensive menu because we just kind of developed the menu from what people were requesting when they came in. So like the mimosas, we didn't have that when we first opened. We didn't have the mac and cheese on the menu. Wow. So now we're considered that soul food chicken and waffle spot. But we didn't have all those items, and it was just people were just asking for it. It was like, okay, maybe we need to add this on the menu. Right. So.
That's pretty cool. So when starting a business, a lot of people, the main thing that we hear a lot is that I don't have the money or it takes money. And it takes money. I get it. But what do you recommend for somebody who's trying to start something, but they don't know where to start?
So I recommend, having all your ducks in a row. When I say that is make sure that, you have your business in place. Have let's see, what am I trying to say? Because there's so many different, like when we first started, they didn't want to give us a chance with giving us any money, any banks. Wow, and, we had good credit. We had, the business plan, we had everything. They just didn't want to give it to us because one, restaurants are risky, and two, we didn't have that business experience. Yeah. So I would say, get your business license, get your LLC in place. Make sure you have a business bank account, have all those things in order because, some people were using, Cash App to get business funds and all that good stuff. It's not good because when you go in the bank, they're going to ask you, okay, where's this money coming from or where's the money? Right. And you can't say, well, it's going to my personal account and, my business account doesn't have any money to show the banks that you're bringing in that revenue so that you can get that, loan from the bank. And so I would just say, make sure that you have everything in order when you go to that bank to ask them for that money. When we first started, they didn't want to give us any money. So we basically had to come out of our own funds to start our own business. And, wow. It was just like, we was kind of putting things together and just, it was hard. Yeah. But now the bank's throwing money at us now. You KiKi's?
Yeah, come on.
Sign right here. So,
and did y'all figured it out on your own, or did y'all have a mentor?
Yeah.
So I would say our mentor was like our manager that we used to work for at California Dreaming. He was able to give us information that when we asked questions of where do we buy restaurant equipment, he was giving us good advice saying, don't buy new equipment. Always buy used equipment because it's much cheaper. And then people don't take care of your stuff. So, we were able to ask him questions and be able to get advice from him. We actually purchased our Park Lane location And the owner of that building, or the seller of that building, he owns Sticky Fingers. I'm not sure if you guys know that.
Oh yeah.
So he's
Mm-hmm.
actually kind of like our mentor now, because
Wow.
he started Sticky Fingers with 2 of his friends, and he kind of enlightened us about what we need to do to be able to grow our business. So that's one of the things that we've kind of used to help us, because we don't know everything. You can't find everything online. It's always good to ask people who've been there and who's, where you want to be, how to get there.
Okay. So now, how did you get into like the real estate?
So the real estate, so when I was maybe like in college, I how we like to search the web, and it's like, okay,
Right.
what type of business can you get into and be successful, and not really have to do anything? And so real estate was like that number one thing that came up. And so during the pandemic, it was like, okay, we're depending on these funds from the restaurant, and the restaurant business got hit really hard. And so I was like, you know what, we really need to have something in our portfolio that can make money for us without us doing anything. And so we decided to buy that one house and rehab it and rent it out. And then we just continue to do it. And basically this is something for us to be able to generate extra income, and then also generational wealth for our son and future kids.
Cool.
So you don't. People say that you have one business, master that, establish that, then move on to next. Do you think it's possible to do multiple things at once?
It's possible, but if you don't have the right team in place, it's not going to go good. Because I like to focus. It's hard for me to give things away and have other people running. I want to make sure that it's done right first, and then I'll move on to the next thing. And so, like with the restaurant business, I feel that it's going pretty well. Then I was able to open up, other things like the event space and get into the real estate. And during the pandemic, I had so much time because we were just doing to go. So I was researching. I was listening to a lot of podcasts on real estate. I was reading a lot of books. I just had so much time to, get into that business.
Question. And you don't have to answer it if you don't want to. I want you to, but you don't have to. When you started your business, did you hire family? And how was that if you did?
So my brother did work for us for a short period of time while he was at in Columbia area. But I don't have that problem with hiring family, because I know where, what's the word I'm looking for?
Could be slack.
I know that certain things to look for. So I already would say no in the beginning.
Oh, so they were asking you?
Yeah, so they're asking, saying, I don't think that's a good idea. Let's not go that route. And then the good thing too, I'm not in the city where my family is, so if we move to Charleston, it might be a different thing.
Yeah.
I might have family asking, so I don't know. I'm a soft-hearted person, so I don't know. It may be tough for me. Just come on. What can you do?
Thank you, girl. That's cool, man. So the event space, that was after the real estate and after the restaurant?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the event space came about. It's like, okay, people always having events, baby shower, weddings. It's like, okay, we need to open up event space. And we have a small space in our Bower Parkway location that we rent out. And so, it just made sense. People were asking for bigger spaces. I was like, okay, we need to look for event space. And we can do our catering out of it. It can seat 260 people. We do live events as well.
So do you, as far as business is concerned, each of those businesses have their own like separate LLC, or you do DBAs for?
Separate LLCs, and the reason why is because if someone sues you, they don't have can touch the other. Yeah, get them all. So, yeah.
And you go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, all right. So out of everything you do, because you have a lot going on, what do you enjoy the most?
So the real estate.
The real estate?
And I'll tell you why. Is because I really don't, in the beginning, I'm doing a lot of work because I'm rehabbing, make sure the contractor is doing what they're supposed to do. And then after that, I really don't have to do anything. Put a tenant in there. I still manage the properties myself because I just don't see myself paying someone 1 full month's rent and 10% when I really can do it myself. If I get, over 20 properties, I may allow someone to kind of run it or develop my own property management company.
Okay.
But right now I manage it. Don't really have to do anything. The first of the month, we used to hate the first of the month. Now I love it because, rent is coming in. So, yeah, real estate. And then I would say the event space because I really don't have to do anything. People call, need to tour the space. And then after that, if they want to book it, bam, open the doors. They do what they have to do, clean it up, close the doors.
So how do you, because you're still a mother, you're still a wife. Like, how do you balance that with everything going on that you do?
It's a lot. So in January, I left my full-time job. So with all that, I was working.
Get out of here.
I was working a full-time job.
No way.
And so during the holidays, before I left my full-time job, I was like, you know what? I really need to do something because my time, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Even though we didn't slack on raising our son, it was just that I just was so tired at the end of the night, And so I just was like, you know what, let me leave my job and let's focus more on the businesses and stuff like that. And it takes a lot of planning, setting aside a day. My husband's off on Mondays and Tuesdays, so he's able to, spend time with us. And then Wednesday through Sunday, he's in the restaurant. And that's what we pride ourselves on. You can always find us in the restaurant. My husband is always there. Me, not so much, but I'm still doing the behind the scenes things.
And he's at both locations or one, or you at one, or how do y'all do that?
So he's mainly at the Park Lane location because we get so much business there. The Barrow Parkway location, I'm there here and there, but I'm not there all the time because we've built our staff and trained them to be able to run it themselves. And I always tell them, you guys know you're running this restaurant without us being here. And they start thinking, yeah, we are. I mean, they know everything. And so that's pretty much what we did when we opened up that location, was just train them up to run it just like if we're there. And, some things, we may not like, and you may get, bad reviews here and there, but that's just the business, the restaurant business. And, a lot of people always ask, KiKi, how do you feel when you see things like that?
Right.
And it hurts sometimes, because it's like, that some things aren't true. And then this other side of it is like, wow, I really need to, get on top of my staff. But and what I learned that everything's not going to be perfect. Right. In the business, I did go in there wanting things perfect. And me and my husband kind of bump heads. He was like, you know what, you need to just go. You get you a full-time job, don't be in the business because, when you have one person doing one thing and you're saying, well, this should be this way, it's tough. And so I think that's one of the reasons why we have grown to where we're at is because, he handles the front of the house, the back of the house, and I kind of run the front of the house, and I'm just not there inside the business.
Teamwork.
Right. So with because people leave reviews and stuff on social media and all the Google and all that stuff. Do you handle that, or you have a team that does that? Because there was this one restaurant. I don't know if they got somebody running their page, but they was coming back at these people with these reviews. Yep. I'm like, man,
these people cursing them out.
I'm like, they gonna shut their business down.
So I still run our social media, and that's one thing I definitely have to get, later down the road, soon get someone to run it for me because it can be too much. And so I respond, and even if the customer is wrong, you still got to respond right. Yeah, you have to. And so, when I see reviews and, I always refer them to my email and I apologize in the public, let them know I apologize for what you experienced. Please reach out to me, through email, and sometimes I'll, discuss what happened in there just so people will see and, make sure that I take care of the issue and then handle it from there. But it's tough when you see things and people they going at it and they don't even know and they ready to respond, and it's just, it's crazy. That's just the day and age of social media these days, people want to be the first to respond and say who died, and people want to, just have that clout for the day, I guess you would say.
I just talked to them, man.
I love negative reviews. They'll share that so quick, put it in the food groups.
They love it. Down. Exactly. And the crazy thing about it, they'll already speak to my husband or manager, and they still go to social media about it. Like, I'm just like, why? Give me a chance to fix the issue first. And if I don't, then go to social media. Right. Or, if you already talked to us and you know how to reach us, then why are you going to social media? Like, what is the issue?
Like some people want to hate.
Yeah.
They want to take people down.
Yeah.
They see you doing well, so they want to damper that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with your son, though, would being that y'all are entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, and making things happen, are y'all going to push that on him or just let him do what he want to do?
So we're going to allow him to do whatever he wants to do. He's in the business. He knows what goes on what, how to set up a chicken and waffle. He knows the restaurant business.
Does he like it?
He likes it. Cool. He likes it. We have events at the event space. He's back there making waffles and everything. So he enjoys it. So I think he's going to take it on. But these businesses that we're building here today, it's going to be all for him to do whatever he wants to do with it. And the real estate, I wish I would have started early. But, he's there doing the rehab. He knows what we're going to do with it. Mom, when are we going to rent it out? So
that's good.
We just teaching him early what we learned late, and he can do whatever he wants to do with it. But, we teaching him, say, real estate, you keep this as long as you can and don't sell it, unless you have to, because it has a lot of equity or whatever, and, it's all for you.
And how old is he?
He's 7.
Oh, right, yeah.
7.
Dang.
Well, that's what's up. So do you plan on adding more KiKi chicken and waffles out there? Or?
Oh, yes, definitely. So we're looking to open one in Charleston.
Okay.
Yeah, so and so many places people want us in Augusta. We have people travel from Augusta, Rock Hill, so many different areas. Columbia, we may open another location in Columbia, but I'm not sure, because you have to be strategic. You don't want to take away from another location, by being so close, that's so.
And I know a lot of the, because I follow your social media.
Okay.
I'll be looking and I see that a lot of people that come here, artists and different things, they always come because it's a staple.
Mm-hmm.
How did you, even with all of this going on and you're doing amazing things and got all of these people know who you are, how do you remain humble? Because there's people who have one spot or who own a food truck and are arrogant. How do you remain humble?
I think it's just more of just how I was brought up. I just don't look for that fame. I'm just like, I'll go out in Belk and be like, hey, KiKi. Or, they know me and I don't even know who they are. I follow you on social media. My name is such and such. I'm like, okay. Someone, I'll put into Go Order and I say, hey, my name is KiKi. If they ask me my first name and they're like, you're not KiKi's Chicken and Waffles, are you? And I'm like, yeah, I am. And they're, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, wow, people really, really, think I'm famous or whatever. But I just, it's important to stay humble because it could be taken away from you, the next day, and I always think about that. So I just, people ask me questions, how to get started in business and start their own restaurant. I help them out because someone helped me and I don't mind helping them out. I'm just a humble person. That's it.
To the next question. Do you have a mentorship program? You help people start restaurants or with the house rehabbing and
So I don't. I want to. So many people saying, look, KiKi, you need to monetize this and definitely have a mentorship program. So I just haven't had the time to really sit down to kind of develop that. But I do want to do it. And it's just basically because people should know these things, especially if you want to open up a restaurant. I want to help you early so that later on down the road, you don't make a mistake because you open your restaurant, too early, or you had a large location. You should have started out small, or you should have, not be work a 9 to 5 and you wanted to open up your own restaurant, because I did that because I had my husband there. If I didn't have my husband, I wouldn't have been able to do it because you have to be inside that business for, a good 2 years, 3 years, make sure everything is ran right. Then you have your people there that, who has been there since day one, who knows it and they can run it. But, people do that so quick because they want that status or they want to look at my 10 years and they've been in business only 1 year and say that they can do it. But we've built this from the ground up. We were in there from 7 in the morning to 12 a.m. at night. We were open till 2 a.m. on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. I don't know how we did it, but we did it. And I was working a 9 to 5. So it was tough.
Crazy.
It was tough.
So when y'all first started though, was because it's different. Nobody's doing the whole chicken and waffles theme here. So when you started it, the business just jumped like that, or it kind of progressed over time?
I want to say it did jump like that. And the reason being, well, first when we first opened, I would say maybe 2-3 weeks in, people weren't coming in. I was like, man, did we make the right decision? I was second guessing myself. I was like, man, what are we going to do? Because people weren't coming in. You know, if you was at our first location, we were kind of like sitting down in a shopping center, so you couldn't really see us from the road. I went out, started passing out to-go menus to businesses and salons and all types of stuff just to kind of get the word out there. And just people just kind of started slowly coming in. And then social media, posting on Instagram, because Instagram was kind of new, 2012 when we opened. And then I got Coach Staley to do a radio advertisement, and that really put us on the map. I think it did. And I think that that helped us. That really did.
So at what you said you got Coach Staley to do, so at that point you knew like this is the right thing. This is what we're supposed to be doing.
Yes. And I'll tell you a short story about that. So when we first opened, you know, you always have these people knocking on the door, want to sell you business. So radio advertisement guy came in from Kiss FM. He was like, hey, KiKi, we got to get you on Kiss FM. And I was like, no, we don't spend all our money in this building and we don't have no money to spend on marketing. Right. It was like, man, but you need marketing to get people in the doors. But it was just so expensive. So he was like, you know what, let me just develop a proposal for you. I'll come back or whatever. And he knew me. We knew of each other from USC. He knew I used to work for Coach Staley while I was at USC. Okay. And he mentioned to me, you know, KiKi, maybe you should get Coach Staley to do your radio advertisement. I was like, no, I don't want to bother her. It's basketball season about to start up. Right. No, I don't want to bother. So we left it as that. He left. Came back maybe 2 weeks later. He's like, KiKi, I got Coach Staley to do the radio advertising for you. Here's the lines that she's going to say. She already agreed to do it and everything. I was like, oh my, why did you do that? And for one, I asked him that because I hate when people ask for people to do things behind my back without me asking first. And so I texted her and was like, you know, I'm sorry, I didn't want it to, you know, go down like that, but I appreciate that you've agreed to do the radio advertisement. And she was like, oh, no problem, anytime. And so, man, when that went on the radio, people from all over was coming in. They were like, KiKi, we love the radio advertising. You got Coach Staley doing it. That's awesome. Wow, so, and that was before, you know, the championships and everything. So
that's wild. Mm-hmm. That's wild.
Yeah.
Like, so, with all of this going on, do your family, do they see you differently?
No.
They don't? Mm-mm. It's still the same old KiKi.
Still the same old KiKi.
That's cool, man. That is cool. That's awesome. You got anything else, bro?
Oh, man, that's
great. Man, this was a great episode. We definitely appreciate you coming because when I reached out to you, now, I didn't even think you was going to respond, to be honest with you. I didn't think, I was like, well, she responded. Tell me. Responded. So we definitely appreciate you coming out, man. KiKi's Chicken and Waffle. If y'all haven't tried it, please go. You will not be disappointed.
Soul food is awesome.
And if you go, just mention my name and... It's like, nah.
Discount.
Free water. You get free water if you mention my name. But nah, we thank you for coming out.
Yes.
We definitely appreciate it. And stay tuned next week, man. Major Figures Podcast with your boy Chris.
Goody.
And we out.